All right, welcome to math. Today we're going to focus on how to learn to make and analyze stem and leaf plots. You've probably heard of stem and leaf plots before. This is probably a review for some of you. For others, this is something brand new. So let's pay attention and get through this. Don't forget to write today's date and page number as well before moving on. All right, your warm-up. If you're looking at a set of data ranges from 12 to 86, what intervals would you use to display this data on a histogram with 4 intervals? So what kind of intervals could you come up with for a histogram? There's a lot of different choices here. Just see if you can come up with one. And when you come back, I'll tell you what I would do. All right, if I was making a histogram and I wanted to put the bars up in equal intervals, what I would probably do is I'd go by tens. So the first interval that I would start with would be 10 to 20, right? Because I start at 12. I don't need anything less than that. Then I would go 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, 51 to 60, 61 to 70, 71 to 80, 81 to 90, and that would cover all the intervals I need to display 12 to 86. Now, if you had something different than a range of 10, come show me and we'll look at it and we'll determine if it's a good one or not. All right, let's get into our lesson today. First thing I want you to write down is what a stem and leaf plot actually is. It shows data arranged by place values. So we can use stem and leaf plots when we want to display data in an organized way that shows you how much each value is, or how many of something you may have in a specific value range. I have this down before moving on. All right, so let's take a look at a first example, and our first example is just going to be how to create a stem and leaf plot. So there's several steps. I want you to pay attention and copy these steps down as we go forward. First thing you need to do is copy down this data table where we have all the test scores. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's 10 test scores that were calculated. You have 75, 88, 86, 84%, and so on. So the first step, what you got to do when you're making a stem and leaf plot is group the data by tens. So we have the 75 and 90. Those are within the group of 70 to 79. Then we have another group here of 80s, so 80 to 89. And then we group them from 90s to 99. And this is how they sit. You always order them from least to greatest. So once you have this down, then you can move on in the video. Now from here, you're going to be actually separating all the numbers by what's in the tens place value and what's in the ones place value. So you're going to write the digits in separate columns. Okay? You can write this down if you want, but you don't have to. So as we look at that, now what we're going to do is we're going to take those numbers that you just put into a nice list, and we're going to list the tens digits of the data from least to greatest, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull away the tens place value from each digit. We're going to put it in the left column that we call the stems. The leaves then are the ones digit. So as you can see here, we took 75, we put the 7 on this side, we put the 5 on this side. Now we don't have to repeat the 7 again for 79 because 7's already there, we just put the 9 there. So for the 80s, we have 83, 84, 86, 86, and 88. We just have to write the 80 part once, 8 here on the stems. Then we just put the ones digit for the next 5 numbers, 3, 4, 6, 6, 8. Same for the 90s then. You put the 9 here, and we put the 1, the 4, and the 9 down here. So when we look at this, this means 75 or 79. This means 83, 84, 86, 86, 88, 91, 94, 99. And then the last step, as it says here for step 5, put a title, and this would be test scores. So have this down as well in your notes so you have a strong example of how to make a stem and leaf plot from beginning to end. Okay, so we're looking at data here about daily temperatures, degrees Fahrenheit. You see that they put that in the title. You should do that in your title as well so you don't have to write degrees Fahrenheit after each number. Go ahead and make a stem and leaf plot of this data, and when you're done, come back and see if yours looks like mine. Hopefully yours matches the one I have here. You can see I put the title, labeled the stem, label the leaves, and I put 3 for 30s, and we had 37, 39, 4 for 40s, 40, 45, 48, and 5 for 50s, 51 and 56. If you have this right, come on over and give me a high five. All right, so now that you know how to make a stem and leaf plot, here's how you can take the information from a stem and leaf plot and analyze it. So as we can see here, the directions say find the least value, the greatest value, the mean, median, mode, and range of the data. Now that it's all organized, we can find all that stuff, okay? So the least value is obviously the one that's at the top and the closest to the stem and leaf. So the least value here has to be 40. And the greatest value, you go all the way to the bottom and you look at the last number. So that's the 9 and 4, which is 94. So that's how you can find the least and the greatest value. Now, to find the rest of the information, all you got to do is do all the stuff you already know and have learned previously. So for the mean, you have to add all these up and then divide by how many there are. So you add 40 plus 40 plus 41 plus 45 plus 47 and so on and so on. There's 23 numbers. So you add all those up and you divide by 23 and you find that the average actually is 64. Okay, so real quick, we've already found the least value, the greatest value, and the mean. So if you can, please have this written down in your notes before moving on. All right, now to find the median, we just got to find the middle number. So you can kind of cross out top, or lowest and highest, next and next, and you work your way until you find that the middle number is 63. And then mode, all you have to do is see which one happens most often. Well, I have two 40s, I have two 51s, I have three 63s. Is there any other number that has 3? Nope, so the mode is 63. And the range, we just have to do 94 minus 40, and you get 54. So once you have a stem and leaf, you can do all the stuff that we've learned previously and organize it. All right, your turn. I gave you a stem and leaf plot on the far right. It says the stems are 10, 20, 30, and 40. You have to go through and figure them out. Now, we haven't looked at anything like this yet, but you see the one stem has a 2 for 20, and there's nothing here. So does that mean that there's nothing there at all? The answer is yes. There is nothing here. So if it helps you, just cross out this so it doesn't confuse you. Come back when you got all of these answered. So after analyzing all the data, these are the answers I got. Smallest was 10, largest was 44. The mean, when I added 10 plus 12 plus 32 plus 41 plus 44, I got, and divided by 5, I got 27.8. Middle number is 32. There is nothing that happens most often. And the range is 34. All right, if you got those right, come on over and give me a high five. For your box of thought, I just need you to be able to show me that you know how to show 25s on a stem and leaf plot. So go ahead and do that, pretty easy, and then you can move on to the quiz. Here's your quiz. So I have a list of all those numbers. What you got to do is find each value using the stem and leaf plot. So make a stem and leaf plot, and then find the least, the mean, the median, mode. And that's it.